Welcome to the R.Y.S.E Movement podcast, a place where legends just like you learn how to raise your standards everywhere. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the R.Y.S.E Movement podcast. This is the first one with a guest on it for 2024. I'd like to welcome an old school friend and a close friend of the last couple of months as we've reconnected, Alex Griffin. Alex is a financial planner. He works for Solomon's Group in Solomon's Wealth. Yep. We've had some amazing conversations, and the big thing that we've figured out is we're very much aligned towards like the North Star of helping empower people. The big thing that him and I are going to be doing when it comes to content in the future is we want to make sure that we can empower you guys to make empowered decisions. That's the big thing that we're going to be talking about in subsequent episodes of the R.Y.S.E Movement podcast. So make sure you keep an eye out for any time that you see Alex's face next to mine, because there's going to be some amazing things that come out. But first, I would very much like to introduce you to the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Before we get into anything that we start talking about, I'd love everyone to know your story. I know your story, and we've spent so many great hours talking about it. It's a very empowering story of overcoming what you don't want in life and going, fuck this, I'm worth more than that. So
100%.
welcome, and let's open up the floor for whatever you want to talk about.
Brilliant. Just want to have some banter.
Hell yeah.
Look, mate, where can I start? It's a hard thing to know what you want in life. And, you know, when you're at high school and they sit there and go, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And there's people out there who just know. My wife's a nurse. And she's been a nurse for the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But me, I had no idea. Absolutely no idea. So I fell basically into a career path of retail. That's just, you know, what the part-time job is when you're at school.
Yep.
And from there, I just kind of crept into management, and it just became really easy.
Yep.
So, you know, I'm 19, I'm the youngest department manager at Coles. I've been there already, 5-6 years? It's just, everything is just happening naturally, and you just get so comfortable.
Yep, absolutely.
And so I think that's honestly what I kept coming back to through my career. And, you know, we'll explain into that a bit further, but it takes a lot of willpower and a lot of probably coaching and a bit of pushing from loved ones to actually get you towards your true North Star.
Yep.
To actually do what you want to do and feel like you're actually making a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I can relate to that 100%. When I was at Macca's, the only reason I went into management was because I wanted to study my Cert 4 in fitness. And I was like, you know, this is back then, being a teenager at Macca's, I was earning maybe $11 an hour. And that was considered a good wage. I remember going into management, they asked me, they're like, oh, Dave, do you want to be, you know, shift supervisor and start getting some responsibility sort of thing? You'll earn more money and go through management courses, so on and so forth. And I thought to myself, I was like, sweet, I want to be a personal trainer. This is a good way of financing that and getting getting a little bit further ahead of what my study costs were going to be. And then because it was so easy and it was comfortable and I was fucking good at it, the doors just kept opening and they just kept offering more money, more courses, more conventions, just like develop this way. I mean, you know, hindsight, doing what I do with the R.Y.S.E movement and everything like that, it definitely helped. It gave me the business experience and all the systems knowledge and understanding how to manage teams the wrong way and how to manage people the wrong way, but doing everything financially and systems wise to like the nth degree sort of thing. What was it like for you when you were seeing like mad success, like all of these things were happening, you know, like the doors were being opened for you and like you were having the carrot dangled in front of you going, hey, do this thing, this next step sort of thing. What was the catalyst that made you go, I can't do this anymore. I'm so done with this?
I think two things. The first is that you feel it inside of you. After a certain amount of time of just doing almost the same thing, even for different organizations, you've come home at the end of the day and you sit there and you go, what did I do today? And, you know, if your answer is, you know, I empowered my team, I did this and this and this for my business, then great, this might be the fantastic career path for you. You've clearly got a real passion there.
Yep.
But if your answer is, Jesus Christ, I sold some teacups and I brought a truck in and unloaded it completely.
Yep.
And if that's the best you can get out of what you did for your day, you're in the wrong place.
Yep.
You haven't found your passion. You haven't found the motivation to want to continue to do that. And honestly, I think I just forced myself for over 10 years, literally over 10 years, I forced myself into thinking, this is it. I love this. This is what I want to do. Not that side of it. You know, I went more towards the leadership side. I loved taking control of teams, trying to empower them, trying to coach them, trying to develop them. That I loved, that aspect of my job.
Yep.
But as you would know, working for any big corporate, it becomes less and less about that and more about the task.
Yep.
Bottom line, get the tasks done. Bottom line, save the bottom line.
Yep.
You know, grow the top line, reduce the bottom line,
Yep.
make as much profit as you can. And it becomes less and less about people and more about the task and just business.
Yeah. So I've spoken on the podcast before and I've spoken in content before about the moment that I recognized that I was just a number. So my story, I became store manager of Macca's really young. I was the youngest store manager in Queensland. I had the best results out of anyone. I had head office calling me going, we don't know how you did what you did. You're doing so well, blah, 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 blah. And then my people practices weren't up to scratch. Later found out, diagnosed ADHD, very much on the spectrum, but as my psychiatrist puts it, too high functioning. And so my bluntness and directness, because of systems, routine, and the way that my mind works and the way that my chemistry works, I was very much like analytics, profit, like anything that's facts and figures and there's a book to tell me how to do what to do. It's like I was too black and white. I was too clear cut for them and they couldn't understand the way that I was doing things. So when I came to, when I was store manager and I got demoted because I wasn't the right person for the job. And I figured out really quickly that I was just a number to them to be able to fix a problem that they had. So it's, action, reaction, problem, solution. So they were like, here's the problem. Here's someone that's good at fixing that problem. Let's fix the problem. Okay, we've got a new problem. He's shit with people. Let's go get someone to be able to patch that hole. But then this hole pops up again. So they're constantly just removing people from the positions. When was the point that you figured out that you were just a number?
Or to try and pinpoint it is hard because honestly, I think I lived in such denial for so long. Like your old analogy of, the brick truck?
Yeah, feather brick truck.
Feather brick truck. I ignored that many feathers and bricks for so long. Thank God a truck didn't come along and I found the brick eventually.
Yeah.
But I would have to honestly say, so I've worked for a number of different organizations, but it was during my time at Kmart that it really hit home. And it was more or less just the fact of realizing that over time I had moved far away from, arrogance and thinking I'm the top shit manager, thinking I'm the greatest thing on earth. I moved away from that into really trying to develop people. I was always with the team, always working with them on the floor, trying to help them, trying to obviously achieve my goals that I needed to as a manager, but I was doing it through people. And when I started getting reprimanded for that, that's when I'm sitting there going, Jesus Christ, like if I can't succeed the way that I want to, with helping people, empowering people, and actually feeling like I'm making a difference in my team's life, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, right.
It's do you want to work for your team? Or do you want to work for the hierarchy, the organization?
Yep. See, I never had that awareness. It was always for the business. It was always the business.
Yep.
So because I was so profit-driven, KPI-driven, people, this is going to sound really bad, but people were transactional for me. Like they came into my business, I trained them. If they weren't trainable, I would put them on a performance plan to be able to make sure that we could get them up to scratch, even to a bare minimum. Yep. And then if they could not be developed from that point, I would give them less and less hours, like legal hours. And then so the point that they'd self-select out of the business, because I only wanted the people that were happy to work and happy to be developed. Not from like me being a people person place, but me being, you're the best person for this position. You're going to do that position because on this SOC shift observation checklist that's been verified by the training manager and multiple crew trainers, you know how to do your job. And all of my counseling sessions with my people were, I have a stack of paper that says you know how to do your job. I've got managers telling me that you don't know how to do your job. Where's the incongruency coming from? is it from you or is it from my crew trainers? Because if it's from you, I can deal with that. Like we can work on that. But if it's my crew trainers, I'm probably going to have to retrain them, if not demote them or, remove them or something like that. And because I put so much pressure on them, they're like, oh, I'll do my job. I'm like, well, you've been verified to say that you know how to do your job. Do your fucking job. And I never had that awareness that it's people first. You develop the people so that you have a great, thriving, flourishing business. It was, no, that's a means to an end. The end is KPIs and profit.
Yep.
I didn't have that awareness. I had a mentor that came into my life when I was a PT, and he goes, what's on your shirts? And we're all sitting there. There's like a group of like 30 of us, and we're like, PT, like, are you dumb? And he goes, yeah, what does PT stand for? It's personal training.
Yep.
It's person first, training second. You deal with the person, you develop the person, you nurture the person, then you worry about training. If you take care of the person, then the training will take care of itself.
Yeah, well, from that old business perspective, Richard Branson's old quote, the customer is not, or the customer client is not your priority. Your team is.
Yeah.
You treat your team well, the clients will reap the benefits because your team are going to be empowered.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not a direct quote. That was a terrible re-envision of it, but
it got the point across.
Exactly.
It's, I never understood that. It was always, it was always the end. I only cared about the end.
When I say that though, like I completely get where you're coming from, because it wasn't just a, hey, I'm top shit KPIs. Look at all this greatness I'm doing. Oh wait, stop. I now care about people. It was a literal 10-year process, and it was getting knocked down hard and having to re-examine yourself and the way that you do things, and putting a lot of work in to, I guess, your leadership style, and self-awareness is the biggest key. So and I'm a true believer that experience counts for so much more. I look at who I was from 17 when I started in management until 24, 25, where I probably hit one of the peaks where I was an area manager for Aldi. And I was not self-aware.
Yep.
I was a terrible, terrible leader. I can tell you that right now. I feel sorry for the teams that I had to lead at the time. But I thought I was fantastic because I got results, and literally I just kept getting praise.
Yeah. So when you had your big setbacks, what was the thing that got you out of that rut? Because getting demoted, getting fired, getting, change of responsibilities or whatever it is, that's a massive moment. It's a massive knock to the ego. And especially being, early 20s sort of thing, when all these knocks were happening early to mid 20s, we're only just developing our prefrontal cortex. We're only just developing our sense of self in the world. And a lot of the time that doesn't even happen properly until we're in our late 20s, until we've, had a family or we've changed careers or whatever it is. How did you pull yourself out of the lowest of lows to go, no, I can do this better. I can do this again. I can push.
I can tell you the answer very straightforward. I didn't. Okay. So, firm believer of you just can't do it yourself. Sometimes, there might be people out there who are just mentally that strong that things are just going to, run them over, and they'll just get back up and go, oh, well, let's get on with it. I didn't. No. It was, that first moment in my career where I realized I'm not the best. And suddenly I was surrounded by people who I could see were a lot better than me. That realization hit, and it was like almost, a prolonged panic attack of, who am I? What am I doing? And then you spiral, and your self-confidence evaporates, and you kind of lose motivation, inspiration, you lose it all. And, it sounds like you're almost going into depression. And that's where you need a support network. So for me, I was very lucky, extremely lucky, that I met my wife in high school. We got together after high school, so no, not high school sweethearts. Everyone, first question that gets asked, oh, high school sweetheart, no. But we've been best friends far before we got together, and that was the establishment of our relationship. And she is what has pulled me through. Yeah. She could see probably the potential in me before I saw any potential in me. I knew I was smart as a kid, intelligent. I guess you could say, there's two different types of smart, but intelligent, book smart, I would say. It's always come naturally to me. I've never had to really study. I've never had to do big research into things. I understand things. But I never applied myself. Never. jack of all trades is probably like the best thing I could have put to myself in my younger years, because I played soccer, and I literally think I got the merit award, most improved or whatever, for like 4 or 5 years running. And I'm like, how much can you improve before you're the best? But anyway, it's because I didn't apply myself.
Yep.
And it was her who pushed me to originally go to uni and say to myself, hey, there's more to life than just being retail manager. And so she pushed me, but I still at that point didn't apply. I breezed through uni, not breezed, it was difficult, but I didn't do the real hard study into things, and got decent grades, but not fantastic. But then I didn't do anything with it either.
Yep.
I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I was still that kid in my mind of, there's got to be a higher purpose. There's got to be a reason I'm here and what I want to achieve in life. But is it business? Is it economics? That's what I studied. Very broad. But I still didn't apply myself.
Yep.
And so it's always been her pushing me along, I think. Until I think that kind of catalyst moment within Kmart where I had enough. I pulled up stumps. I realized I took a step back. We're always so into our lives. We get bogged down by the daily. What are we doing? Getting up today. Kids' lunches, drop them off at school, go to work, get home, make dinner, bit of housework, watch Netflix, and suddenly you just get into this horrible routine.
Yep.
And you need the catalyst moment where you take the step back, you realize that you're just an NPC. And you have to take a step back, realize there is more, and I need to do the work.
Yeah.
And so I started, and very, very gradually, I wasn't like a hyper-fixating kind of guy like you are who just grabs something by the horns and just runs with it. So I was a very gradual for like 2 or 3 years while I was with Kmart, starting to look into mindfulness, starting to look into, a little bit of meditation. I'm still terrible at meditation, but I'm getting there, and I have enough self-awareness built up in me from my career. It's one, good thing that's come out of it, to realize that I don't know everything and that I need to put more work in. And things like watching your podcast or listening to your podcast helps me realize there are many others out there like this, but helps me realize that there is a far deeper understanding to how our minds work and how our brains work and how we can actually try and not be motivated, but just be consistent and just make the changes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw a picture the other day. I'll put the graphic up here. It was of 2 ladders next to one another. One ladder had runs of the ladder that were very far apart. The other one had closer. And it says motivation, discipline. And that's what it is. It's just consistently doing the thing over and over and over. I love the thing that you had, the awareness that you had that you don't know everything, and the fact that you're like, I have to do the work. That awakening moment that so many go through, it's like, it can become really overwhelming because you're like, I don't know my ass from my elbow. There's so much that I need to do. Where do I start? And like, I remember with my awakening after I went through all my domestic violence and everything like that with my ex, it was, okay, well, my mind is the worst thing in my life. Like, I've still got my body. I'm still physically able, like I'm intelligent. I know how to apply myself in business and stuff like that, but my mind is fucked. So that's job number 1 for me. So that's why I went into counseling and therapy and all these different things. Whereas you were like, all right, so this part of my life is fucked. I'm going to jump into this head first and not so much master, because no one's truly a master, but like, I'm going to tackle this first. What was that first big thing that you were like, all right, that thing I identify, I'm going to do that first?
First big thing, and well, this is my opinion, but I think it's like an epidemic at the moment, and it is caused by social media and things like that, but it's that horrible trait of humans to compare themselves.
Yeah.
The constant scrolling into Facebook, things like that, looking at your friends, looking at other people, and glamorizing them because of what they're posting.
Their highlight reels.
Exactly. You've got to understand this is like 5% of their lives. They're not posting the other 95%. And realistically, all right, even if they are posting 100% and it all looks fantastic, they've probably worked their asses off to get there.
Yep.
It's, for me, it was trying to stop, because I've done it all my entire life, comparing me to others. Why are they where they are and I'm where I am? Why are they taking a holiday and I haven't taken one in years?
Yep.
Why? And I think it's the self-awareness moment of realizing it's not them, it's me. I don't need to compare myself to someone online. I have a fantastic life. The only reason or the only way that I start thinking down about my life and my situation is when I compare myself to someone who might be in a much better off position, but they could be 10 years ahead of me.
Yep.
Or they could have had a massive windfall. Like you just don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know how someone got into the situation they're at, and you don't know the pain that they're hiding behind that smile in the Facebook photo with a brand new BMW behind them.
Yep.
So for me, first thing, honestly, is I actually pretty much deleted most social media for my personal life. Not deleted, but just deleted the apps. It's still sitting there in the background.
Yep.
And I stopped daily scrolling on it. And it wasn't probably instant, but like within days to weeks, I suddenly realized, holy crap, I've got time. I'm not just losing my time in this. Wait, I'm not seeing everyone's highlight reels anymore. I'm not comparing myself as much. And it was probably a bit of a catalyst of starting to accept people more and be happy for other people as well as myself. But like, I don't know if other people do this, but you're just driving and like you drive an old car or whatever and you see someone in their brand new Tesla or Mercedes and you're like, oh, good on you, mate. Yeah.
Yep.
Look at you. Or P-plater in the brand new Mercedes. Yep. Well done.
Yeah. Daddy's money. Good
Exactly.
job.
Exactly. But you don't know what they've done to get there. And so like, why are we judging?
Yep.
There's too much judgment.
Can relate hard.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I remember, I have a distinct memory. I was finishing close at Nikon Macca's. I just walked out the front and I see this young, gorgeous girl jump into a red Ferrari. And I look at the driver and instantly in my head, I'm like, you fucking cunt. I was so bitter because he had what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe 17, 18 years old. I was in 17 years old I was. So I was starting a new relationship that I got into just because, impulsive, like there's this thing that friends used to mention that everything would be okay in our friendship group if Dave kept his dick in his pants. Started dating this girl. She had a boyfriend at the time, and like I was just, shiny object syndrome. I want this, but I'm not willing to do the work, sort of thing. I want what he has, so I'm going to take it from him. Like that was my mentality. I was like, "Fuck you. Who are you to have what I want? I'm just going to take it." Which could have taken me down a very dark path, but thankfully I, got knocked a few times to be able to reconcile. I was like, "Oh, fuck, I'm the problem." Whereas like the realization of going, "You fucking cunt. You've got everything that I want in the Ferrari and in the woman and all these sorts." Who knows what his story is? Who knows how hard he worked to get to where he was? But one of my favorite sayings is comparison is the thief of joy.
Yep.
The moment you compare yourself to others and what they've got, what they don't have, and like everyone, talks about wanting to be Elon Musk and the richest man in the world. You don't know how bad that dude's life is behind the scenes. He works like 22 hours a day.
He sleeps in his factories.
Yeah. I don't want that.
No.
Like, I don't even want that, the notoriety that he has, the constant, like, fine-tooth comb going over his life because he's so prevalent in the media everywhere. Fuck that. I want my life.
Yeah. Everyone's got a different definition of success. And unfortunately, when most people go immediate success, they think money and objects. Oh, I'm successful when I earn $150,000 a year and own my home and, drive a brand new BMW.
Yep.
That's success to me. And you're like, no, that's a version of success.
Yep.
But it's so corny, money and happiness.
Yeah.
Yes, money can help happiness. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyone who says that money doesn't help happiness is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
They're naive.
Oh, 100%. But I think the bigger way to look at money towards happiness is a lack of money takes away happiness more so than more money brings more happiness.
Yep.
So so much of the work you do is about people trying to rise up further,
Yep.
do something about their lives, But a lot of people are stuck in the daily grind because of money.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to work on myself, Dave. I'd love to go to the gym 4 times a week and start losing the weight and, doing hypnosis and meditation for an hour a day to try and, zone myself, get myself into things. But unfortunately, I need to work 2 jobs because I've got too much debt and too much things and too bad of a lifestyle and no budget. In that instance, more money's not going to help them. More time is going to help them.
Yeah. I always talk about success, but with 2 other aspects. If you have, I break life down into 3 things: success, love, fulfillment. If you have success, but you don't have fulfillment and love, what for?
Yeah.
What's the purpose? You've got material things, you've got a roof over your head, you've got good food you can eat, you can buy majority of the things that you want, but that's it. It's very materialistic, rational, left brain thinking, I've got things. If you've got fulfillment, but no success and no love, it's okay, cool. I love what I do, but I'm grinding myself away. If you've got love, but you've got no success and you've got no fulfillment, you've got too many supports. You've got too much good thing around you and it's going to suffocate you. It's too much order. I've got the yin yang symbol over there. There's the balance of chaos and order.
Yep.
You need a perfect balance of the 2. You need to walk the line in between the 2, 1 foot in the good, 1 foot in the bad, chaos and order, so that you can maintain balance. So that's why I bring it down to those 3 things. If you have success and you're fulfilled in doing what you do, and you have love around you, and you have deep gratitude for all 3 of those things, you've won. That's the way that I bring my life down to. So success with my clients, success in my training in jiu-jitsu, all these different things, but I'm also deeply fulfilled. And inside of those things, I have love. The brothers and sisters that I have at my training at jiu-jitsu, I love them deeply and they love me deeply because we've got this unspoken trust and agreement. It's when I choke you and you tap, I respect the tap. And it's yeah, you got the best of me. Well done. But we're always going to push harder. We've always got that fulfillment to be able to try and have that next level of success. And the love that we hold each other with is no, I'm holding you to a fucking high standard. Do better. I expect more of you and I'm going to help you get better. It's the same thing in my family, same thing with everything else. How do you feel about those 3 things in your life compared to right now, doing what you're doing compared to when you're in that low point with Kmart?
The low point of Kmart, I definitely had the love around me. I have a loving wife, 2 beautiful kids, bit of family, a few friends. That's all you need. Yeah. Honestly, you don't need this massive wide network of acquaintances. You need a few people to really be there as your support network, I would say. Fulfillment? God, no. Back in the day, just I think any retail, any of the previous jobs I've done before now, jobs, career, whatever, very little fulfillment. I would say an artificial fulfillment. Some paid better, and I thought, oh, this is fulfilling. I'm finally above 100K a year. Brilliant. But if you hate what you're doing, or you don't, not hate what you're doing, but if you're not loving what you're doing, if you don't feel like you're making a difference, then you're not being fulfilled.
Yeah.
You're just being paid for your time.
Yeah. Exchanging time for money.
Yeah.
Yep.
And success, look, that came and went. I would liken my career to just the ocean. So it's this wave, it just keeps going like this so far. And that's how I measured myself in terms of fulfillment, If I moved to a new job and it was a promotion and things like that, great, fulfillment, it was great. Life was amazing. And then if things started going downhill or redundancy or whatever happened, okay, my life is crap now.
Yep.
And I measured my fulfillment and my success based on my career. I look back on that now and I think that's almost very egotistical because I wasn't even saying or thinking to myself, I still got my family. I have my support network and my loved ones here. I just measured my fulfillment, my success, and a good chunk of my happiness based on where I was in my career.
Yeah. And so many guys are taught that's what success is.
Career and money.
Career and money. That's it. Career, money, and toys.
Yep.
And so, that whole thing about big boys' toys and going to get the motorbike, the boat, the car, the fucking trophy wife, all these things, they're so hollow.
Yep.
It's a marker of success, but it's unfulfilling.
So
you get
shallow.
the thing, I remember when I was when I was just got a manager position at Macca's. I started getting systems and stuff like that. I wanted my dream car was the R33 GDST. So I leveraged myself against it, went and got a loan, very high interest rate, all the rest of the things, because I was like, I need that thing to be able to feel successful. And then so I started doing all the things. I was getting so behind. Like my repayments were only $180 a week over, I think it was a 5-year term or something like that. The interest I was going to pay on it was going to be the car's worth plus like $4,000. So the car was only worth $17,000 back then. God, they're like $50,000 now. Ridiculous. Anyway, I digress. So I ended up was going in the life of the loan, I was going to have to pay back like $35,000, and you just don't see it as a young kid. It's like, no, I want the thing, a thing.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Literally the same thing, but I bought an Evo 7. I needed the toy. I needed the fast car. I thought it was a status symbol for myself.
Yeah.
And so I got the big loan, exact same thing. I was even stupider that I bought it without a roadworthy. So it had been brought over from Japan and had massive engine issues.
Oh, lovely.
Brilliant.
Yep. So you had to go through compliance, get it ADR approved and all the rest of it.
Exactly right.
Yep.
So yeah, when I start talking finance to people, trust me, I've been there. If they're going to tell me things like, oh, I did this stupid shit, don't worry. We've all been there.
Yeah, 100%.
We all make bad decisions, especially while we're younger. We don't have the experience.
Yep.
We don't have the mental capacity to be able to make better decisions or be able to actually scope out of the situation and think about the bigger picture in our decisions.
So what got you onto the path that you're on now? What was the thing that you said, I'm done dealing with this shit. I'm going to step back. I've observed where I'm falling short and where I need to improve and these sorts of things. Like, how did you make that decision to go, fuck it, I'm doing this. I'm going all in on this thing.
Yep. So I guess first inclination towards that was undergrad degrees, which I'd done, 10, 15 years ago almost, did finance. Mm-hmm. And there was a scope for that. Like I like numbers, I like analytics. That's where the way my brain is kind of naturally hardwired towards. And over time, I've grown towards enjoying people, helping people. But the reason why I went towards financial advice, financial planning, I didn't want to just go to a bank. Like I knew I wanted to go towards something financial. I wanted to step away from just retail business or, front-facing business towards people. And I wanted to be behind the scenes and do something a bit more educated, I guess you could say, a bit more intellectual. But I didn't want to be I didn't want to be an analyst, sit there and look at a computer. I was actually a statistician for 2 years with the government, and God, I hated it. Literally, Microsoft Excel for like 8 hours a day, non-stop.
Yeah.
You don't see people. You're just glued to the screen. But I also didn't want to, I've worked for corporates for 10 to 15 years. I didn't want to work for a big bank, sitting behind the scenes, trading Forex or, something like that within the financial industry. And so a bit of soul searching, a bit of talking to old mentors, a bit of talking to people in the industry who I knew were out there. Ironically, my current boss, who ended up hiring me, he was a big mentor and a big influence in my life. It got me to actually try and piece all the things that I loved about former career, about what I thought I wanted to do, about what I'm naturally good with, and piece it together to go, hey, there's your career path. And maybe that's easy for me. Maybe it's not as simple for others. But, think about it this way. It took me, 12, 15 years in the workforce to piece it together.
Yep.
It doesn't just happen. And so I realized I can use the analytical ability, the financial knowledge and my passion for that together with helping people in financial advice.
Hell yeah.
Little did I know, I'm entering the industry at just this absolutely cataclysmic moment where Royal Commission's just gone and things like that. So everyone's leaving the industry, and I didn't realize that I'm just entering as all the requirements just became incredibly harsh. So I had to go back to uni and do all of that. But that didn't deter me, because after talking to mentors, people in the industry, and with the absolute and utter support of my wife, and I cannot even exclaim that enough. Like when you are early 30s, you got a mortgage, you got kids, and of course in this day and age, both parents are pretty much working. It's the way you have to run your household unless you're on a massive income.
Yep.
For your wife to turn around to you and say, I can see how miserable you are right now, just quit. get out of it and go and do what you want.
Yep.
That's the biggest seismic shift. That's the catalyst.
Yep. One thing that I love that Jordan Peterson talks about a lot, he used to call it the dominance hierarchy, but now he calls it the competence hierarchy, where men, when we go for a mate, we go for equal perceived level of income, success, so on and so forth, intelligence, attractiveness, and we go down. So we go across and down. Women do the opposite. They go up and across.
Yep.
They maybe if they can see someone similar sort of level, lower level, they will see the potential in them and antagonize the fucking shit out of them to make them greater.
Yep.
That's what Rach did with me. That's why the R.Y.S.E movement is what it is, because she said to me after she broke up with me, I remember ugly crying in her car in 2015, end of September 2015, and she goes, you need to work on yourself. You need to fix your insecurities because otherwise you're going to leave me. And I just I moved hell and high water for that woman. Because I knew the moment that I met her, I was like, you're the woman I spend the rest of my life with. It was an uncanny thing. And this was when I was, massive commitment issues, massive insecurities, going through therapy, going through custody battles with my ex and all these sorts of things. And she looked at me and just said, fucking sort yourself out. I know what I'm worth and I know where I'm going and I know what I want in my life. And where you are right now is not that. So fucking fix yourself.
Yep.
And she was like stone cold killer, just dead straight, pan face, just like fix your shit. And because of that antagonizing aspect of her calling me forward and calling me to a higher standard, I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll do anything and everything, but not for you. I'm going to do it for myself. And then if I see that there's a big improvements, and if you can see that inside of myself, then we can talk. And because I moved so much hell and high water in the next couple of weeks, she's like, all right, we can start talking again. We can start seeing, I can see improvement. I can see that you're, not falling back and all these sorts of things. Let's go. Yeah. The fact that I had a woman come into my life and antagonize the fuck out of me to be the man that I could be is the only reason I'm as successful as I am now. Only reason that I have the knowledge base and, the people that I help and all these sorts of things and who I'm becoming in the future is all because of her.
See, I love that story, but I love how you digress and you take it back to a moment and say, I don't do it for her, I do it for me. In the end. Mm. That's the biggest, I don't know, you can tell me, is it a male thing that inherently we want to be the provider, we need to do, what we do is for others in the end. We are trying to support others. But I find that most men don't support themselves. Most men 100%. Don't make change for themselves.
Yeah. So growing up, men are taught to provide, men are taught to secure and protect. Yeah. They're the big three. You're taught go off and do a job that's hard labor, whatever it is. Obviously technology's evolved and we've gotten to a point where it's more intellectual than anything. But men are taught go work. That's what you're doing. Hunter gatherer times, men go hunt.
Yep.
Women stay at home with the children and, they forage and they cook and they look after the household and stuff like that. And that's very much the traditional upbringing that we've had. Biologically, it's ingrained inside of us. The reason why men go out into the workforce and they want things is because of testosterone. Yep. So because of our testosterone being so high and being the predominant hormone inside of men, that makes effort feel good. So we want effort, we want challenge. And the reason why there's so many guys that are unfulfilled in their lives right now, because I did a lot of men's coaching over the last couple of years, is because they don't have enough challenge in their life. Yep. Life has become way too fucking comfortable. They're too content with mediocrity and what is, because life's so comfortable. We've got so many, this is a big generalization, but in the West, we've got so many creature comforts. We've got Uber Eats, we've got technology, we've got fast internet, we've got aircon in our houses, we've got fresh running water, we've got anything at the click of a fucking button. We've got so much ease of access that life has become too easy.
I think, and this is such a digression, but I think one of the biggest moments you can see as to how comfortable life has become is when you just look at all the kids going to school, riding their electric bikes and electric scooters. I'm like, are you kidding?
Yep.
Just ride a bike, get the exercise, come on.
Yep, 100%. And iPad kids, the fucking Apple Vision Pros or whatever it is, they're starting to come out over here. I've seen a bunch of videos in the States of people jumping out of their Teslas with their Vision Pros on and walking around and they're on their iPhones in space. And we are creating Ready Player One. You know that movie? Yep. We're creating, what's the other one? The one with the fat, is it Wreck-It Ralph that has the fat people in the chairs with the Oculuses on and they're projecting. Anyway, so like we're building a dystopian future where people have become. So we've already got an obesity epidemic in the West, but we're also going to build so much more dependency on infrastructure and systems from big daddy, like big government. And I can't stand that. Like that does my head in. Like I'm all about personal responsibility and working smart, but working hard, you know, like effort feels good, training hard, you know, doing everything to the best of your capabilities, not for any purpose other than because you fucking can.
But I think all the technology in the world is fantastic. And it's, you know, it's building this dystopian future. It is advancing the human race. But what humans or men, anyone need to realize and what they need to bring it back to is we still need socialization.
Yep. And that's the big thing that everyone's lacking at the moment, regardless of sex. Like the amount of people that I know that are single by choice because they can't fathom jumping on dating apps. They can't fathom going and dating with this, you know, quick swipe left, swipe right sort of society that we live in that won't put in the effort to build relationships like you and I have with our partners. They're not willing to do the work.
I pointed out to Luck. I tell you, I couldn't handle this dating world.
Either could I. Like
I'm so glad that I met her in high school because I would be terrible in this world.
Yeah. I value substance over anything else.
Yeah.
Like in all of my relationships, especially the new ones that I create, I set the paradigm. It's like we go deep and we go quick. Like I'm not here to fuck around. I've got way too many people in, you know, social media world and stuff like that message me for a bit of help and support, but it's all like surface level stuff and no one ever wants to go deep. No one ever actually wants to do the work. So like when
people come to you for the answer,
100%, they want a quick fix answer. It's like, Dave, here's problem, give me solution. Mate. It's like, well, the solution is the journey on the way to the solution.
Yeah.
You know, it's about who you become to get to that solution, because you can't just click your fingers and expect something to be dropped into your lap because you've got Uber Eats, because you've got fucking Tinder, because you've got all these things that make life so easy. You expect to click your fingers and not do any fucking work. It's not how it works. It's not how psychology is built. It's not how the male body is built either. It's not how relationships are built. You need solid foundations to be able to go, all right, I'm with you till death do us part. Like, these are my vows. These mean something. It's not just a piece of paper. It's not just a fucking social norm that we do. This means something. So the analogy that I use is we've got a washing basket and life is inside, the contents are inside of it. And you need to carry your handle and I'm going to carry my handle. And we're going through this on the journey together, wherever we go. Yep. And whatever goes into that, we're both going to carry it. Sometimes I'm going to need to carry it more than you're going to need to carry it. Sometimes you're going to carry it more than I'm going to carry it. But we're both here always carrying it no matter what. There's going to be times where it's going to get really heavy and things are going to be hard. There's going to be illness. There's going to be disease. There's going to be sickness. There's going to be death. There's going to be chaos and calamity, wars, or whatever's going to happen. But no matter fucking what, that vow matters and we're going to hold it no matter what. Like, that's the framework of a relationship. Yep. And anyone that thinks that a relationship is, well, like, we're married now and I don't want to be with you anymore, I'm just going to throw it away, you're thinking too short term. You're thinking way too short term, like instant gratification, Uber Eats, Netflix, blah, 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 blah. You're not thinking into the future. What's that going to do to your kids? What's it going to do to future generations that are going to look back and go, what the fuck did you guys do? Like, how did you fuck this up so easily? You had a perfect relationship, you had a perfect framework, you had a perfect business, you had perfect whatever it was to be able to fertilize and nurture and water and like grow the grass on your side.
They're not putting the work in.
Yeah, 100%. It does my head in. Like, it's the worst thing about this world.
And it is, but in complete honesty, it's not people's fault. You know, when, like, think about this. Through high school and into your early adulthood, I'm just going to take my expertise, for example. How much financial knowledge and information were you given?
Nothing until I started looking out for myself, because I had a friend who antagonized the shit out of me and said, why are you always broke?
Yep. And I can tell you, pretty much in terms of financial literacy, people are taught basics, very, very, very basic things, but they're not taught how to get ahead.
Yep.
Unless your parents teach you, that's it. And, you know, that can be likened not just to financial, but to relationships. If your parents, you know, if you come from a broken home or a loveless marriage between your parents, things like that, that's what you grow up to see.
Yeah.
You're not taught any different way. Not until you seek it out for yourself, or you have enough awareness to try and find people to help coach you.
Yep.
I think, honestly, it comes back to, like, with my career, one of the biggest things, one of the main things I want to get across, and what I will be happy going to bed every night and sleeping well about, is knowing that I've made a difference to other people at a younger age. Like I'm 34 now. If I had known what I know now in my 20s, early 20s, I'm just imagining it. I can't even fathom the difference it would make in my life.
Yep.
And to other people's lives. You know how you have those memories in your head of stupid shit you've done, which might have hurt someone? And in all honesty, they might have forgotten about it. Or it might be something which they hold on to as well.
Yep.
But you replay it in your head and you're like, Jesus Christ, if I could go back. It's all experience, coaching, and knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. And not hoarding it like the boomers. It's making sure that you can teach the younger generations right from wrong. You teach them values, you teach them belief systems, and you give them substance. Because otherwise, like, what are they going to stand on top? Like, you're essentially eroding their foundations and the presuppositions of what a successful and harmonious world is by not teaching them. And because the boomer generations, all they do is hoard everything: property, finances, knowledge. And when they retire and take that all. They don't give a shit. They don't care about passing anything on. They don't care about legacy or like developing or nurturing or anything like that. And this obviously is a giant generalization, but the big thing stands. It's like the amount of people, the amount of boomers that I've seen leave industry, leave relationships, like just leave, and just not give a shit. Like, fuck it, who cares?
Yep.
They'll sort themselves out. Such an entitled generation.
Yep.
Such an entitled. They say that we're entitled as millennials. I mean, it's the finger pointing out. You've got three fingers pointing back at you.
Yep.
And that's one thing that they just don't do. They just don't recognize self-awareness. Like, oh, what am I leaving for the world? What's my legacy? Like, what am I going to make sure that the world is going to be better off because I lived?
I tell you what, I think half the reason millennials and a bit of Gen Y and all that are perceived as, selfish and wanting more is because we can see the world out there. And we can see how damn hard it is to own a property now and to get ahead and to just make ends meet. I think it just drives people to want to be selfish.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, or not to want to bring children into the world or not want to have relationships or anything like that because it's like we're on the brink of a world war. We're on the brink of chaos and calamity. Why would I want to bring kids into this? Why would I want a relationship in this when it could all just go pear-shaped and, they could nuke the world tomorrow? Like, that's very much the dystopian, like, nihilistic future that a lot of people are subscribing to.
Yep.
Whereas, like, I know for myself, I can see that tomorrow's beautiful. Like, I know the world that I'm working to create inside of my household, inside of who I am as a man, inside of my small network and, the R.Y.S.E movement, everything like that. It's like, no, tomorrow's beautiful. Tomorrow's much better than today is. But we have to be able to do the work to be able to get to that place.
Absolutely.
It's not just going to be handed to us.
But it's every decision you make, hey?
Every.
You don't make a decision anticipating the worst outcome. You got to know it's there. But you don't let it influence your end decision. Yep. Oh, I'm not going to have children, and the only reason why is because the world is fucked.
Yep.
That doesn't make sense.
If that's the lens that you view things through, and that's like the only reason that you're not having kids or, not building a relationship or anything like that, you're looking through it through the wrong lens.
That's right.
There's always chaos and calamity in the world.
I'm not going to buy a house because it might lose value. I'm not going to, start that relationship because it's probably going to fail.
Yep. You're starting things or not starting things from 1 foot out of the boat. You're not all in. Like, you're going to die. You're in this once.
What's the point?
Yeah, 100%. Live it to the fullest.
Yeah.
Parkway Drive, I've got the lyrics to Vice Grip on my arm in here. Hope for the hopeless, a light in the darkness. But the pre-chorus, like the pre-call out breakdown, whatever you want to call it, he goes, one life, one shot, give it all you got. And like, that's the anthem for life, man. It's like one shot.
Yep.
That's it. One life, one shot.
Yep.
Fucking send it. Do everything to the best of your ability. Love to the fullest that you can. Experience the greatness of life. Go stand in a stream. Like, listen to the birds. Like, do everything to the best of your ability.
Yep.
Don't settle for less. Stop being fucking mediocre.
Give it a go.
100%. Give it a go.
It's the opportunities that you don't take.
Yep.
They're the ones you're going to regret.
Yep. Have you ever spent any time with anyone that's on their deathbed?
Yes.
And listened to them about all the things that they wish they did? It's not the money. It's not the houses and the cars. And it's the experiences with people. I wish I told this person I love them more. I wish I spent more time with my grandson. I wish I was, all these things.
Yep.
It's about quality of experience with other people, doing things. It's not buying things. It's not hoarding money. It's not investments. It's not career. Oh, I wish I fucking worked more. No, it's I wish I spent more time with my loved ones.
Yeah.
I wish I told my wife I love her more. I wish I took her to bed and just showed her how much I love her, not through just having sex and, but just like deeply tell her I love her.
Yep.
Like look her in the eyes and say, like, Rachel, I love you so much. Yep. Like I can't imagine life any other way.
How many people on their deathbed are sitting there going, God, I wish I had more money right now?
Yeah, right?
You're not taking it with you.
Yeah.
It's the experience of life. And, for me, my expertise is just a small part of that. I know that there's a spectrum of other industries and emotions and supports and networks and things like that you need to establish within your life for happiness and for gratification. Finance, money, it's a small part in the end, but it has the potential to just overrule the rest.
Yeah.
We have so much concentration towards it. So if I can help anyone make any improvement in their finances, I can tell you, the seismic shift in my mentality, that's why I got into this career.
Yeah.
That's why I ended up saying, you know what, this is it. I can't go home at the end of every day saying I sold a teacup today, yay me, or I met my KPI. I want to go home every day going, I helped someone.
Yep.
2 people, 3 people, I don't care how many people. Leave a mark on this world.
Yep. Transformation, not transaction.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And that's the reason why you and I are going to be doing so much work in the future.
I think so.
Because we've spent God knows how many hours now catching up over coffee, talking absolute nonsense for a lot of it. But the depth and connection that we've got from our place of knowledge in the world to be able to want to help people that aren't helping themselves. It's not that they can't. It's that they're not at the moment. And maybe they don't have the resources. Maybe they don't have the mindset. God knows what it is. But the stuff that we're going to do in the future to be able to help empower people to make better decisions in their own lives, obviously coming from generalized knowledge and generalized advice and stuff like that, but it's simple practices that they can put in everyday life. We're not going to tell you what the best stock is to go invest in or any of that sort of stuff. The thing that we're going to teach you is how to be centered inside of yourself, how to make better, well-informed decisions, where to find better information from. And, because we live in the information age, there's a plethora of information, disinformation, misinformation, and you need to know how to be able to navigate that.
Absolutely. The current world we live in, you can do anyone else's job. Very, very honestly. You think of a lawyer as a profession, they know. You can look up every law they know, every legal dictionary and binary, and you can do it yourself. But are you? No. Use a lawyer. So it's a mix of, helping yourself, finding the information, but recognizing that there are others out there to help you.
Yep.
Coaches.
Yep.
Mentors. It's not all about finding someone to do it for you.
Yep. 100%. The most empowered people that I've ever seen have been the ones that do it themselves at the start, and then once they learn to get to a place of competence, they leverage time, effort, and money.
Yep.
It's okay, if I've gotten to this place where I'm here, I'm 15 points above zero where I started, I've got little time, but lots of resources to be able to do things with. I need to be able to leverage that so I can hire someone else to help me do that. Yep. And that's where a coach comes in, I go, cool, here's the game plan, let's go do this. You go execute. And they go, fantastic. I don't have to think about that aspect of my life. I don't have to think about my fitness. I don't have to think about, what to eat or, what to invest in and stuff like that, because you've got a coach like you or coach like me sort of thing. It's I've now leveraged someone else's expertise to be able to get me to that next run of the ladder.
Yep.
And instead of having to make these giant quantum leaps and bounds, it's little incremental steps along the way. Yep. It's that great old analogy. It's very, very crude, but it's how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. One bite at a time. You don't have to make $1 million tomorrow. But if you start changing your habits and routines and, really take control of all of the things and become empowered over it, become educated over it, the sky's the limit. The sky is the absolute limit. What you think is the limit. What you believe is what the limit is. If you think that you're going to be poor and that's it, that's your end of life, okay, that's what you believe.
Enjoy your poor life.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I've been very poor. I've been to the point where I've almost been bankrupt 3 times. It's not fun. No. Fucking sucks. being in a better financial place now where, you know, Rachel's earning good money, I'm earning good money, we've got savings, we've got investments, we've got all these things that we've got, you know, like, we're getting taken care of.
Yep.
We don't have to worry about where our next paycheck's coming from or if we can put food on the table, because we've done the hard work and we've, you know, counted our pennies and stuff like that at the start to be able to get to a place where it's like, I don't know, we can live comfortably now, especially in this economic crisis that we're in right now with inflation and everything like that. You know, we've done the hard work. Because I was like, oh, I'm not fucking doing this again. You know, I've felt the pinch back in 2012. I felt the pinch in 2008 when we went through the GFC. Like, I knew what was happening in 2020 was going to lead to financial ruin. So I became educated on it. I became empowered. I studied with different mentors. Like, you know, if I couldn't afford it, I'd find whatever free information I could. Like, that's what the game's about.
That's right.
That's what the game's about. So I think that's a good place to leave it here for your introduction. Keep your eyes out for more content with Alex and I in the future. Alex, do you want to tell them what your socials are? They're only just getting started, so bear with him. But what are your socials at the moment?
Look, only just starting, but I think probably the best way to do it is just link in the bio.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah. So check out the link in the bio. Anything that, any questions that you got with Alex or any content that you want him or I to make sure you leave it in the comments. Send us an email, dave@risemovement.com.au. And Alex, what's your email? Best contact?
a.griffin@thesolomons.com.au.
Fantastic.
It'll be in the bio.
It'll be in the bio. Thank you for being here, guys. Much love. Until we see you in the next time. See you later.
Thank you for being with me today. Thank you for subscribing and leaving a review. It really helps us out. Until next time, take care and much love.